Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex P. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, December 21st. Ian Cameron solo on this edition of the show on this Sunday, and it's a bigger Sunday than normal. Close to the holidays, of course, because we've got the break Wednesday to Friday without NHL action over the Christmas holiday, if you will. We're going to see more Sunday games. They're trying to align it so that there's a lot of teams playing today. There's only a few games tomorrow, and then pretty much the majority of teams playing on Tuesday, the final day before the break. So that's probably a large reason why we have more Sunday games than normal, but we do have a pretty big Sunday slate with 9 games. We'll get to that in just a moment. We'll recap yesterday, and it turned out to be actually a pretty solid day overall, solid profits, and certainly with the 2 segments that everybody knows and loves at the end of the show, bargain bin special of the night and best bets. As far as I'm concerned, it couldn't have gone better. It was an excellent result. We went 2-0 with bargain bin special. Both bargain bins cashing yesterday. Vladimir Tarasenko, the Tarasenko show for the Minnesota Wild, plus 340. Great to see him find the back of the net for the Wild in the third period. And the red hot, surging, streaking. He's in great form right now for the San Jose Sharks, and he scored once again last night, even though the Sharks lost. And that's Colin Graff at plus 325. So to be able to cash both of those bargain bin specials was great. We hit the best bet with Anaheim. We love that spot. We love that price with Anaheim coming off the blowout loss to Dallas. So it was good to cash all of those, the 2 bargain bins and the best bet on yesterday's show. And Terry Edelman, who did a great job on the show yesterday, he hit his bargain bin special as well with the Matt Boldy, Brady Tkachuk goal parlay, which was north of plus 400. So well done, Terry, on that one. As far as the games yesterday, Detroit beats Washington 5-2. Bit surprising, but another good start for John Gibson. And the Red Wings continue to play great hockey. And we'll start the Sunday breakdown with those 2 teams once again facing each other head-to-head in action. In fact, there's 2 games that are rematches of yesterday on the slate here for this Sunday. So we'll get to that. But a great win for Detroit as they maintain their lead for first place right now in the Atlantic Division. The Flyers, man, you had a 4-2 lead and you couldn't hold the lead. And the Rangers come back and win in a shootout. This was a bit disappointing. We had a piece of the Flyers. Someone in our Patreon said they had the team total. That was a good, better decision to go with that. Once again, Sam Erson's he's not consistent, not someone that's overly reliable start to start. There's a reason why Dan Vladar's gotten a lot of the opportunities this year, and very good win there for the Rangers, 5-4 in a shootout. This game was great. Edmonton, Minnesota. Not only did we hit the bargain bin with Tarasenko, but Minnesota money line, Minnesota team total over, full game over, all cash, the 3-0 side and total sweep there. 5-2 win for the Wild. They just keep on rolling. Another good win, another game where they score 5 goals. So these Wild team totals just keep on cashing. They've scored at least 5 now every game since Quinn Hughes was acquired by the Vancouver Canucks. So 2 goals for Boldy last night to get them going, or yesterday afternoon to get them going. And at the end of the day, it was just a pretty solid effort in net too from Gustafsson, who really settled down after giving up the 2 goals in the first period. Certainly outdueled Calvin Pickard. And here's the issue you're going to run into now with Edmonton. With no Tristan Jarry, you're relegated to Calvin Pickard and Connor Ingram, who's obviously been away from playing hockey, because of mental health concerns. So, to rely on those 2 goalies moving forward, bit of a concern here for Edmonton. And we certainly saw that yesterday on full display. Chicago, another loss. They finally scored some goals, but they give up 6 and lose to the Ottawa Senators 6-4 in that game. Not pretty from Soderblom. This has been a bit of a rough patch for him. And the worst news of all, you're already struggling. You're losing games. You're in a downturn. You're missing Connor Bedard. Your record without Connor Bedard's not very good. And now you lose Frank Nazar. Just brutal news for the Chicago Blackhawks. And he's out minimum 4 weeks. Terrible news for the Chicago Blackhawks there. And you got to wonder if this is the start of a real long tailspin for them. But That's not news they could not afford to have. And that's Frank Nazar's injury. Already, a little more challenge to score goals. But 6-4 Ottawa win there. Buffalo keeps rolling. 3-2, they beat the Islanders in a shootout. We nailed the St. Louis look as well. Now, they won the game 6-2. I wasn't sure they'd win the game, but I said they'll pounce on Florida early. We had the first goal of the first period. Plus 160 was the price on that St. Louis first goal of the first period. So I was really, really happy to be able to win that one. St. Louis with a 6-2 win over Florida in that game. Very, very tough spot. Florida off the rousing comeback against Carolina. Very, very difficult to maintain focus, be on top of things coming off a win like that. And the St. Louis Blues were able to take advantage. Not to mention, of course, they faced Tarasov and not goalie Bob in net for the Florida Panthers. The woes continue for Toronto. Now, I will say they at least gave a better effort last night against Nashville. But at the end of the day, it's another loss. It's another game where you get outshot, outchanced. You're getting caved in. You're hemmed in your own zone too much, and you end up losing. And that's the thing. Yeah, your effort was better. You still lost, and you need points right now. But the Leafs are unable to collect any as they go down to defeat 5-3 against Nashville. That being said, I was on Toronto first goal, first period. Another good call with that market. The first period over fell short, but we did get the plus money with Toronto first goal, first period. Vancouver, Boston, very entertaining game. And how about the Vancouver Canucks? Still undefeated post Quinn Hughes trade as they get a 5-4 win over the Boston Bruins. Over by Fecta. I jumped on that. Alex was definitely liking that as well yesterday. Cashed with ease on that over by Fecta, and Vancouver with the 5-4 win yesterday over the Boston Bruins. Montreal 4-0 against Pittsburgh. This time I made the right call and at least evening up the amount I put between the full game over and the team total over. And once again, Pittsburgh does nothing. Back-to-back shutout losses now for the Penguins. Terrible display for their fathers. I feel bad for their fathers. Ryan Warsofsky's telling up I'd give up a kid for adoption to get a win. Maybe the father should start giving up some of these kids of theirs for the Pittsburgh Penguins because that's pretty pathetic. Dads are in the building 2 games in a row, and you can't get a goal for them in 2 games? Really? That's how much you think of your fathers? That's how much you think of pops right now? Oh, my gosh. Poor dads of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But terrible 2 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins back-to-back. Nary a goal to be had, and they lose 4-0 there to the Montreal Canadiens. And Jacob Fowler, boy, if he could only play the Pittsburgh Penguins every game, this guy would be freaking George Vezina reincarnate. Holy goodness. 2 wins, 2 great performances, by far his 2 best performances, both coming against Pittsburgh. And the last night he gets his first NHL shutout against the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. So, like I said, great job by Montreal. Pittsburgh is just in a world of hurt. And Pittsburgh and Montreal is another situation where the 2 teams playing each other again today on a back-to-back. Same 2 teams going head-to-head. Carolina, wow, that's back-to-back losses where they had a lead in 24 hours. 3-0 lead in the first period, and thankfully we were on Carolina just in the first period and first goal of first period, both of those cashed. But I was concerned if they'd hang on for the win, and they did not. It was a 6-1 run-out for Tampa Bay after that 3-0 Carolina lead to turn a 3-0 deficit into a 6-4 win in that game. Good decision-making by yours truly that we only went with the first period and first goal of first period there in that game. Didn't trust Carolina to bring it home yesterday, and that's exactly what we saw at Tampa Bay with the 6-4 victory over Carolina. That's a tough 24 hours for Carolina to lose both of those games when you had multi-goal leads. Certainly Rod Brindamore and his team are going to have to work on some things here the next couple of days here, as that's definitely an unsettling feeling. San Jose, sometimes it's proof that even if a team comes a long way and they're playing well, can't always trust them, especially when they're a rare favorite. And that's what we saw last night. But give Seattle credit, 4-2 win against San Jose. They played a pretty solid road game. That being said, it was a very good performance, I thought, from Joey Decord. 36 shots. San Jose had their chances, but it was one of Decord's better efforts in net. The highlight for me was that even though we lost the San Jose bets, Colin Graff cashed the second bargain bin special there. Calgary beats a depleted Vegas team 6-3 in that one. A great fight, too, in the first period. Jeremy Lozon and the Lamborghini, Ryan Lomberg, who actually got a goal and then fought right off the opening faceoff right after he scored. That was pretty funny to see that. But Calgary with a nice 6-3 win. And like I said, Vegas, this is something to note here with the Vegas Golden Knights, that now without Jack Eichel, they've looked pretty rough in the 2 games without him. Not that that's to be totally unexpected, but you would expect maybe a little bit better still, even without Jack Eichel. And they lose to New Jersey and Calgary now back-to-back without Jack Eichel in the lineup. And Anaheim, the best bet, like I said, 4-3. They get the job done. Great bounce-back performance, much better defensively. Luke Ostostal much better after the rough game against Dallas. I was shocked, though. Shocked that Elvis Merzlikins started for Columbus. I thought we had seen the last of that guy, unless it was a back-to-back situation for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But he started last night, and struggled. He wasn't terrible, but he doesn't make the big save, when you need it, when you need to turn the momentum back in your favor. And that continues to be the issue. It wasn't as bad as he was in some of the previous starts, but again, just another loss now with obviously Elvis Merzlikins in net. So we had Anaheim team total over and the Anaheim money line. So nice to end the night cashing those 2. All right, enough of Saturday. We've got a big Sunday card to talk about, and I'm getting out of here before 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so we're going to roll through these games rapid fire style. Let's begin with Washington and Detroit. We've got Detroit minus 115, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Yeah, I'm going to take Washington in the revenge spot. Rapid revenge, short turnaround, 24 hours later after getting bombed on their home ice, 5-2 by Detroit. Now, these are 2 goalies that are a little suspect, a little sketchy here. You've got Charlie Lindgren going to get the nod here for Washington on this back-to-back. Cam Talbot for the Detroit Red Wings. I would say Talbot's been a little bit worse than Lindgren of late. Plus, yeah, like I said, Talbot's numbers haven't been great. I believe Talbot, looking back on it, the page isn't opening up for me right now, but I did look into it. I think he's on a 6-start losing streak right now. Yep, there you go, Jonathan. There we go. Thank you. Jonathan's always got my back here. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, 6 straight losses for Cam Talbot. Yeah, it's been a rough go for him. You got Washington feeling bad off a loss, so the bad, there you go. Second half of back-to-back record is no good for Detroit, 1-5. So, yeah, I'm on Washington here to get the day started around minus 105 here in this game. I'll split it up with the team total as well. You can get over 3 at around minus 115 with Washington team total over. So I'll do a money line team total over split here in this game. Do we ride the wave of John Leonard? John Leonard finally got his first. I shouldn't say finally. He's only, it's only been a few games, but still, he did get his first NHL goal against the Washington Capitals yesterday. Do we ride that wave one more time and think maybe, hey, you can score again 2 games in a row against the same team? I wouldn't talk anyone out of it. Might sprinkle on that, quite honestly. Protas, I'm interested. Alexei Protas, streaky goal scorer. He's now scored in 6 of the last 10 games. He's scored in back-to-back games for the Capitals. So Alexei Protas there at plus, in that 375 range. I'm interested as far as him to find the back of the net here in this game. And remember, this game starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. This is your one and only afternoon game on the slate. All right, Colorado and Minnesota. We've got Colorado minus 160. Road favorites, and the total here 6 shaded to the over. You're going to give me Minnesota as a home dog at this price on the win streak. We're taking them. Minnesota plus 140 for me. I'm going to take Minnesota team total over once again. Until this team stops winning and stops scoring, I'm a streaks better. I ride the streak. That's exactly what I'm doing here. This is absolutely disrespectful to Minnesota. And let's not forget, Jonathan's onto this. We've talked about this with Colorado. They have not been as dominant on the road. They've just done enough to get by, in some of these road games. They've either lost, remember, they lost to the Islanders on a recent road trip. The Seattle game was a struggle. Seattle's a bad hockey team. That was a struggle for them in Seattle to get that road win. So, Colorado's been a little bit human here when they play on the road. They haven't been as dominant as they've been, and obviously they've been great all year at Ball Arena. We're going to have the Brick Wallstead likely getting the start here for the Minnesota Wild. It is confirmed, obviously, on the back-to-back. I guess that's the one downfall here for Minnesota. There is a rest advantage for Colorado. They played Friday night against Winnipeg, but, Minnesota on this win streak. You're getting a home dog price like this. They've been not just good, too. They've been great. I hope Jonathan has this at his disposal. The Minnesota record this year is a home underdog. I'd be interested to know what it was last year, too, because we know Minnesota's been great. Sometimes porous as road favorites, and sometimes you don't want to lay the big prices with them at home. But I know off the top of my head, they've been pretty good as a home underdog this season. I think they already beat Colorado as a home dog once this year. They beat Carolina as a home dog with Wallstedt in net earlier this season as well. So, yeah, this is just you don't even have to overthink it. It's Minnesota for me. The value's on their side, plus 140. Wallstedt in net's been great. Minnesota team total over as well. So, like I said, it's definitely a wild price that is certainly attractive enough to take. The team total, like I said, over. And by the way, the team total for Minnesota, you can get 2.5 in this game. It's 2.5 minus 135. So I'm going to be on the wild money line team total over split once again. The only I was on the full game over again yesterday with Edmonton, Minnesota. I don't know if I love that, just because of how insanely good Jesper Wallstedt has been. So as of now, I'm just sticking to the wild money line and team total over split. As far as props for this game, Boldy 4 games in a row with a goal. We're going right back to the well with the Tarasenko show. Vladimir Tarasenko plus 350. Ryan Hartman, he scored yesterday as well, and that's now back-to-back games with a goal for him, Ryan Hartman. So very interested in some of those props, no question about that, for the Minnesota Wild. I think for Colorado, if I'm going to look at anyone prop-wise here in this game for them, it'd be Brock Nelson. It would probably be, Lehkonen Natchez obviously scored last game. Probably look in that direction as well for him, no doubt. So those are a couple of props that I'd look at, mostly Lehkonen, Brock Nelson. I'd be interested in here for the Colorado Avalanche. Oh, it wasn't as good as I thought last year for Minnesota as a home dog. Jonathan saying 5-9. I thought last year they were better in that role, but I know this year they do have a winning record as a home underdog. We'll see if they can notch another victory here tonight as a home dog. All right, rematch of last night. We've got Montreal and Pittsburgh. Once again, this time they're in the Berg. We've got Pittsburgh minus 115, slight home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. I've not moved on this yet. Waiting on some goalie confirmations here in this game. But I'm definitely going to be on Montreal team total over again, and I'm going to be on a opponent team total over against the Pittsburgh Penguins again. And this is definitely something that we are going to keep. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you, Robert. Yeah. It's another thing, too. Brock Nelson's not only played well lately for Colorado, I was pretty sure he was a Minnesota guy, and there you go. So, like I said, definitely interested in Brock Nelson props there. But getting back to Montreal-Pittsburgh, yeah, I'm on Montreal team total over 3.5 again, just like last night. Actually, you can get 3 at you can get 3 as well with this team total. I want to point that out. You don't have to you can get 3.5 with a pretty good plus price, or you could get the flat 3 with Montreal team total and get that at minus 114 at Bet Rivers, minus 118 at BetMGM. So definitely interested in both of those looks. I'm probably going to add the Montreal money line to it as well. I don't even care that it's revenge for Pittsburgh. They're in a terrible way right now. They can't score all of a sudden. That's the one thing they could do. We know they can't defend. We know their goaltending is well below average. Stuart Skinner is not going to be able to carry this team with that Civ defense in front of him. He can't. He won't. He has to have some semblance of a solid defense in front of him. He just doesn't right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's why I don't think the Skinner experiment's going to work out too well. But they've suddenly forgotten to score goals as well. I would think on the back-to-back, it's Jakub Dobish here tonight for the Montreal Canadiens here on the back-to-back. Shelov's for Pittsburgh after we saw Skinner last night in the game in Montreal. But either way, I'm just running it back here. Team total over 3, minus 114 for Montreal. And like I said, probably will tack on the money line 2. I'm just going to wait to see the goaltending confirmations before going ahead and making that official. And then as far as the prop market is concerned, we talked about a lot of these same prop concepts yesterday with these two teams, so I'll just reiterate them. Zach Bolduc's of interest for sure, with him up on the top line for the Montreal Canadiens. Someone that's been noticeable too for Montreal. He's now scored for them in, I believe, 2 of the last 5 games for the Canadiens here. Owen Beck. Owen Beck's a hardworking player, called up from Laval, been noticeable. You can get plus 700 for Owen Beck tonight for the Montreal Canadiens to score. I like the way that kid's played, really, since he's been called up. He's gotten involved, hasn't been afraid to go to the areas you need to in order to score goals, which has been great to see. Yeah. Hey, look who's there. Jimmy Murphy in the chat. Merry Christmas, Jimmy. Jimmy, we're going to have to get you on this show in the new year. I promise we will. But we can't have you in the car. That's the problem, man. Every time, the reception would cut in and out. The Wi-Fi signal would cut in and out. Your voice would cut in and out. We're going to get you on the show when you're at home. You're stationed. You're ready to go. The internet's fine. But we will get a Jimmy Murphy appearance again going. We are back, I believe. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Just I don't know what happened there, but we are back. I think it was just there was a brief power flicker here for just 2 seconds, but that's why we just let the stream keep going whenever there's some kind of disruption or interruption or, power outage or internet outage, whatever the case may be. And then we can always, close it down and shut it down if I'm unable to get back online. But we are back. We're here. And we are ready to rock once again. So, unfortunately, now we got to speed up even more. But, yeah, bottom line is Montreal game total. I'll add Habs money line probably later once we get the goalie confirmations. All right, New York Rangers and Nashville. We've got minus 110 even money, both sides, 6 the total here in this game. Let me just check here. You know what I'm waiting on. You guys all know what I'm waiting on here with this game. I want to see if we're getting useless on it in net. If we are, this is Rangers and Rangers team total. It is, and they're on the road, and they're obviously they've had much better success on the road this season. Although that being said, don't look now. They won a home game yesterday and did it in comeback fashion against the Philadelphia Flyers. But that's what we're waiting on here. We are waiting on this confirmation of who's in net for the Nashville Predators. If it's useless on and in here, we're on Rangers money line and team total over. And yeah, the back-to-back numbers are terrible for the Rangers, but they're bad for Nashville too, as Jonathan posts in the chat. So that's a wash. I'm on Rangers money line and team total over if Onninen's in net. Even the Rangers could probably score against that guy. His numbers are not good, and that's putting it mildly. And last year he was not very good either. And I believe Justus Oninen, there's a streak of starts for him where 4-2, 6. I'm looking at all his recent starts here. 4-2, 5-2, 6-3, 8-3, 6-3, 5-4. There was one game he started that only had 5 goals, but the majority of these games have been higher scoring just because his numbers are dreadful. 1-5, 1-5-1 with a 3.73 goals against average and an .865 save percentage for him. So yeah, this is Rangers money line and team total over. If indeed we get obviously Justus Oninen and useless Oninen here in net for Nashville. And I don't trust Nashville off the win against Toronto last night either. And that was every bit to do with the Leafs playing poorly as it was the Predators playing well in that one. All right, Winnipeg and Utah. Utah minus 120 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. Very disappointing from the Winnipeg Jets as of late. They lose on Friday night against Colorado. We'll see if they can get back on track here against Utah. Certainly that's not going to be easy, all things considered here. But the Jets, they're like kind of like with Toronto. I mentioned just Toronto just a moment ago. They kind of need to string wins together, this Winnipeg team, if they're going to try to get back in it. They got to go on a run. Will they be able to is the question. Hellebuck and Vejmelka projected as of now to be the starting goaltenders for this game. But nothing confirmed right now with that as of yet. Utah coming off a loss to New Jersey 2-1 in their last game. That was coming home off the 3-game road trip. I mentioned how they had played 4 and 6 nights prior to that home game against New Jersey. It was a bit of a tough spot. It's very, very tricky to back Winnipeg right now, 2-8 in their last 10 games. It's not like Utah's playing with a great boatload of consistency right now either. A great start at Delta Center on home ice to begin the year. It's kind of a thing of the past. They're now just a slightly above 500 team now on home ice, 8-7 for Utah on the season. Last year, believe it or not, last year, the two teams, Utah won 2 of 3. Utah, they split, actually. They faced each other 4 times, 2 wins apiece. Earlier this year, Utah won in Winnipeg by a score of 3-2. As of now, I don't have anything on this game other than I'd lean to the draw just a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, I just can't get there with Winnipeg. I would say if you want to back the Jets, trust them maybe to get the first goal, come out early, come out strong, maybe a first goal first period for Winnipeg. But for a full game, I cannot trust or count on this team right now at the moment. As far as props for this Jets and Mammoth game, do we ride Daniil Abu, who finally scored the other night for the Utah Mammoth? He's over plus 400. We'll have to see on that. It's really not a lot of props that stand out to me on for this particular game overall, but definitely keep that in mind. The young kid that they called up, finally scored the other night. Is he maybe able to keep it going here tonight? All right, Toronto and Dallas next up. We've got Dallas minus 210 home favorites, 6 at the total, pretty much across the board, flat 6 in most spots. Toronto back-to-back should see Dennis Hildeby after it was Joe Woll last night in the game against Nashville. Whether that makes it, well, if you're going to get caved in and get outshot, get outchanced, and be hemmed in your own zone too much, which has been a problem lately for the Leafs, it's really not going to matter who's going to end up in net for them. But Dennis Hill to be in net here for Toronto. It's Jake Ottinger getting the start here for the Dallas Stars. This is a spot that's kind of dubious for both teams. Toronto, of course, game in Nashville last night. They probably get into Dallas late. It's a back-to-back situation for them. That's not ideal. It's not ideal for Dallas either. They're coming back from a Western road trip here as well, going into this game against the Leafs. So I could see them being a bit sluggish early on. I cashed with Toronto first goal, first period. I'm very tempted to maybe come back to it here. It's not like Dallas it's not like Dallas hasn't had a slow start at home before. We've talked about how a lot of times Dallas, at times will give up the first goal in a game, especially on home ice, especially against a perceived weaker team. And right now, Toronto's a perceived weaker team. But do you trust Toronto for a full 60 minutes? I don't. How can you right now? I think maybe to have a little spark, a little adrenaline after last night playing in Nashville, catch Dallas a little flat early, off the West Coast trip. I think you can make some kind of case here for a first goal, first period for Toronto. That's as far as it goes, though, for me, because I'm not trusting this hockey team right now to win a hockey game for 60 minutes, especially when you've got Dallas here, certainly the team in much better form. This has been weird, the history of these two teams, because it's hard to explain it. Dallas has been great all these years, and to be honest with you, Toronto, has been very better than they are this year. Obviously, they've had a tough season so far, but they've had good teams. But so has Dallas, and Toronto had just dominated this team. They had won 7 straight over Dallas. Dallas finally got the better of them in the most recent head-to-head meeting in Toronto back in January last year, 4-1. But that snapped a 7-game win streak in the series for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It might start to change a little bit. Like I said, maybe the first goal, first period for Toronto, but can't trust them for a full game right now. That is for sure. Another thing to point out here with this Leafs team is the propensity on this road trip to allow goals. They've given up 9 in the first 2 games. With this price being minus 210, if you like Dallas, it may not be the worst idea to look at over 3.5 team total here in this game, all things considered. So, like I said, if you like Dallas, just take the team total. Don't bother with the minus 210 here going into this game because chances are if they win, they're going to get 4 goals on the board. Rope Hintz with goals in back-to-back games, by the way, for the Dallas Stars. Sam Steele, someone we've backed a couple of times. He scored in the last game for Dallas in that romp over Anaheim. Might be worth a look there in that plus 500 price range to find the back of the net here tonight. Big news in this next game. We've got Buffalo and New Jersey. Jack Hughes, severed, finger and all, whatever the case happened there with that the stake cutting incident. And now he's back after a multi-week absence and will make his return for the Devils tonight. They're minus 160 home favorites, and the total here sitting at 6.5. This total is steamed up. People realizing the betting markets really reflecting that that's how important Jack Hughes is to this Devils team offensively. The over's taken a lot of money, even though it's Jake Allen in net, who is, in my opinion, a little bit more trustworthy than his battery mate, Jacob Markstrom, at the moment for the Devils in net. Jake Allen has been confirmed as the starter. He's been not good, but great in the last 2 starts, giving up just 1 goal to Vegas, 2-1 win, 1 goal against Anaheim at home last weekend in a 4-1 win. So 2 terrific starts in a row for Jake Allen going into this matchup tonight against Buffalo. We'll see if he can keep it rolling in this game. Buffalo Sabres, they took advantage of an Islanders team on a back-to-back, beating the Islanders. Now the shoe's on the other foot. They're on a back-to-back after beating the New York Islanders in a shootout 3-2. But Buffalo now, 5-game win streak for the Buffalo Sabres right now. Trying to make it 6 in a row. That's something they have not done yet this season. You look at series history, Devils have won 7 of the last 10, 3 of the last 4. We'll see if that continues here tonight in this game. This has been a pretty strong series. This is another one of our series history overs between these two teams. You go back and you look 6-3 to the over in the last 9 meetings, and many of these games have reached the 7-goal mark or more. So, I kind of do agree with the move to the over. I do like it over 6 here. Allen is the concern. He's been good. Buffalo has been finding the back of the net of late. During this win streak, they've gotten at least 3 goals in every game. In fact, they've gotten 3 goals or more now in 6 straight games, the Buffalo Sabres. So I like this over. I agree with the move. 6.5 now. If you got 6, I liked it there. 6.5, I still think we can get 7 out of this game. Like I said, it's not a deal breaker. I would still look toward over in this game. I could see Buffalo, too, on the back-to-back sloppy. I could see New Jersey pushing pace, little energy boost from Jack Hughes being back. And sometimes when you get a player of that caliber back, you try to do too much offensively at the expense of your defensive game as a team. So that wouldn't totally shock me here tonight either. But certainly it'll be great to see Jack Hughes back, not a moment too soon for this New Jersey Devils team. We don't know who's in net yet for Buffalo here on the back-to-back. Obviously, they've been riding with Alex Lyon for the Buffalo Sabres. He's been very good during this win streak, but Colton Ellis is on IR. I have a feeling they're going to put UPL in there, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and give him a chance. But like I said, he has not been delivering in net the way Alex Lyon has for Buffalo of late. So that's probably a good thing for the over if Alex Lyon does not start tonight. And my gut is telling me he won't probably suit up tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. As far as props, Noah Ostlund on the second line. Josh Norris has been terrific. Josh Doan's still on the top line, so there's value there. New Jersey, Dawson Mercer, like I said, with Jack Hughes back in the lineup. We'll have to see how the lineup shakes out with New Jersey. But certainly still interested as far as Brown, Glass, maybe Dawson Mercer. Stefan Nason, of course, scored the last game. But again, I'm waiting to see exactly what the lineups look like for New Jersey before getting involved in the props involving the Devils. All right, Ottawa-Boston. Ottawa minus 135 road favorites. 6 the total here in this game with the Senators and the Bruins. Bruins, very disappointing 5-4 loss last night to the Vancouver Canucks, especially with Vancouver on a back-to-back. To lose that game is kind of disheartening. It was Jeremy Swayman last night, which means that probably gives way to Linus Ullmark here in net, or not Linus Ullmark. It was Linus Ullmark's going to start for Ottawa, former Boston Bruin. Yesterday for Boston, it was Jeremy Swayman, which means we're probably going to see Jonas Korpisalo here in net tonight for the Boston Bruins in this back-to-back spot against the Ottawa Senators. Korpisalo's numbers overall, 3.35 goals against, .888 save percentage, not great. Hasn't been terrible, though, in the last few starts. Like he gave up 3 to Winnipeg, but it was in a win. He gave up 2 to St. Louis in a win. He did give up 5 before that to the New York Rangers. Earlier in the season, he was really struggling. I think he's been a little bit better. Am I rushing to back Boston with Korpisalo in net? The answer is no. But at the same point in time, coming off a loss like that, we'll see how it plays out. Thomas Chabot being back is significant. No doubt about it for the Ottawa Senators. Is a guy that's actually was playing some really good hockey for this group before he got injured. And now it's even more important he's back because they just lost Tyler Klevin, another defenseman, yesterday to injury against Chicago. And now he's going to be out for at least this game. So this is one where it feels like Boston at home off a home loss is a spot for them. I don't trust Korpisalo. I don't know if they're going to score against Ullmark because Ullmark's been really, really good the last few times we've seen him. So this is kind of a back and forth game for me, side and total. The draw, maybe I'll sprinkle on that here with the Senators and the Bruins. I could see maybe this game having some overtime potential in it. We certainly saw that with the Bruins last night, game with Vancouver going past regulation. Ottawa, of course, and Ottawa and Boston have had some overtime history. 3 of the last 7 have gone past regulation between these two teams. You know what's been funny about this series? The games in Ottawa fly over, high scoring. The games in Boston stay under. The last 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings in Ottawa have all gone over. The last 4 meetings in Boston have all gone under between these two teams. So it's been a weird contrast there where we've seen overs in Ottawa, unders in Boston, with the Senators against the Bruins head-to-head. So if you're buying into that, you probably like the under here in this one. Prop-wise here for Ottawa and Boston, 3 games in a row with a goal for Tkachuk, 2 in a row with a goal for Perron for Ottawa. Zacha's scored in back-to-back games for the Boston Bruins. Geekie seems to score almost every game, so we could never talk anyone out of taking his props. But those are some of the props there in that one that I would be looking at if I get involved. All right, last game. Here we go. Vegas, Edmonton. We've got Edmonton minus 140, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Back-to-back for both teams. Edmonton was in Minnesota, lost to the Wild 5-2. Vegas was in Calgary, lost to the Flames 5-3. So both of these teams obviously off losses here on the back-to-back tonight in this game. We'll see how it goes. Without Jack Eichel, Vegas hasn't looked great. Are we going to see Jack Eichel returning here? No, we're not, because I think Bruce Cassidy ruled out both him and Theodore for this road trip. So no Eichel tonight, no Theodore tonight, which is a shame because we're going to see Carter Hart here for the Vegas Golden Knights. He will start in between the pipes for them. This could be a Connor Ingram start for Edmonton. They may have no choice. With Tristan Jarry on IR, I'm not sure how bullish Chris Knobloch's going to be to put Calvin Pickard in there for the second straight night on a back-to-back. But like I said, I'd be a little bit concerned here about laying it with Edmonton, especially if we get Ingram in that. Because keep in mind, Connor Ingram, we haven't seen him play yet this year. He's had a lot that he's dealt with. His numbers, he had one really good year in Arizona. Last year, the numbers fell off in Utah, and then he took his sabbatical, his hiatus, and disappeared, went into the, player assistance program. And he had an 82 save percentage and 3.27 goals against average. So that's your guess is as good as mine what you'd get if Connor Ingram starts. Jonathan says they're leaning to Pickard on a back-to-back. Okay, which I don't love. Especially it's one thing for an elite level goalie. I think those kind of goalies can handle a back-to-back better, or someone that's used to playing in a lot of games, you can handle a back-to-back. Calvin Pickard hasn't seen a ton of action, so I don't know how well a back-to-back is going to help him. I do like the over by Fekta. I feel like I'm going to stick with that. I liked it initially. I know without Eichel, the offense has kind of been stunted a bit here for this Golden Knights team. They did score 3 last night without him. Obviously, they struggled against New Jersey at home the previous game and only scored 1 goal. I'm still going to get in on this over by Fekta here with Vegas and Edmonton. I just don't know if the goaltending is going to be trustworthy enough on the Edmonton side, regardless of who it is. I think Vegas pushes for offense tonight after back-to-back losses, and that'll open the game up in turn. So Vegas first period over. Vegas-Edmonton first period over. Vegas-Edmonton full game over. I'm waiting on the goalie confirmation. It'd be Vegas or pass from a side perspective, though. The back-to-back numbers are pretty bad for Edmonton. The idea of laying minus 140 with the Oilers with either option in net right now is not something I'm interested in. So, yeah, some kind of Vegas money line team total over split lean right now. I'm just waiting on who the goalie is going to be. But it would be Vegas or pass. I like the over by Fekta even more. I'll probably get involved with Vegas, but I like the over by Fekta even more because I think Edmonton's going to score a little bit as well. Keep in mind, this Vegas team did not look good defensively last night. And, I still think with Carter Hart, he's still working his way back into being at his best. So I could see goals there in that nightcap there with Vegas and Edmonton. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Make sure you check out wizardsportspicks.com. We have a huge NFL Sunday ahead. Unbelievable season for me with the NFL premium picks. So check out, they've got a massive card going at wizardsportspicks.com. Make sure you check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. Like I said, it's been a tremendous NFL season so far, one of the best I've had in my career in sports betting. So make sure you get on board, wizardsportspicks.com. Check out the Beyond the Lines video, which I record Fridays and Sundays for the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel. Matt Robinson does videos as well for Beyond the Lines on the channel. So check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. Check out patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Lots of Patreon live betcasts coming up in the new year. Get on board. And again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. And the Ice Guys store. Check it out, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Gear and merch, tons of it there. Get yourself some Ice Guys merchandise before the year comes to a close over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Kings and Queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with promo code IceGuys. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Sunday slate. Lots to choose from. It's totally okay to run it back when it went well the previous night. We're doing that. Vladimir Tarasenko, right back to it. Vladimir Tarasenko, Minnesota Wild, plus 350. Quinn Hughes arrives on the scene, and this guy's become a goal-scoring machine once again, playing like it's 2015, not 2025. So we're running it back. Vladimir Tarasenko, Minnesota, plus 350 for bargain bin special of the night for this. Actually, I'm going to give you one more as well, because there were a couple that were certainly piquing my interest here as far as the bargain bin is concerned. And for me, it was going to be, let me just see here. Actually, it's the game that's about to start. Alexei Protas, Washington. Alexei Protas, Washington, plus 3. Let me see what the best price is right now. Plus 375. This game just about to get underway. Alexei Protas, Washington, plus 375 to go with Vladimir Tarasenko for Minnesota, plus 350 for my bargain bin specials of the night for this Sunday slate. All right, best bets. Vegas Edmonton over 6, minus 115. Let's go with that. I think we're going to see some goals here with Vegas and Edmonton here tonight, regardless of the goaltending situation. It's back-to-back for both teams. Could see some sloppy play defensively, and I think both teams will be able to chip in to the scoring here tonight in oil country between these two teams. I think a little urgency, too, for Vegas off back-to-back losses. And coming out of that game, they did feel like they needed to continue to try to generate more. And obviously, they'll try to do that here against either goalie for Edmonton, which isn't the most ideal option in net for the Oilers right now, regardless of whether it's Pickard on a back-to-back or whether they go to Connor Ingram, who will be starting in the NHL tonight if he plays for the first time in forever. So I think we'll see goals tonight in that one. Golden Knights, Oilers, over 6, minus 115 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. We're back tomorrow. Alex for sure is on tomorrow. Today he had some family stuff going on back home in Chicago, but he will be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, with the next. Actually, you know what? Because it's Bowl Preview Part 2, it might be a little later, so time to be determined. 2:30, 3 p.m. Eastern is probably when we'll be starting the show tomorrow. So time to be announced, but we will obviously be on Monday to preview the 4 games coming up on Monday night. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. I'm Ian Cameron. By the way, still undecided on a couple of the games, as you could tell by listening to me here on the show. That's what the Patreon membership is for. Check the Patreon page. We'll have the full confirmed card posted later this afternoon. So check that out and become a member. Like I said, patreon.com/iceguys. That's a wrap. Have a great Sunday, Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will be back tomorrow on Monday for another edition of the Ice Guys.